Okay, so before I dub this section of the episode, Kayla and I were talking about how glitches always happen whenever there's so much energy exchange through the matrix. And there were a lot of glitches happening in the beginning of our conversation as we got calibrated. And our conversation started off with Kayla sharing about her gifts and about finding a church home. We started talking about this notion of being barred from the church because your gifts are tabooed. Your gifts are more of the earth as opposed to of this, invisible being. Um, this man on the cloud. This monolith of what God can be. And so we talked about that. We talked about how the true church lives within. And Kayla, I want to get a direct quote from you. So I'll be reaching out to you just to hear that straight from your mouth. So when we do episode 2, I'll let her repeat that for y'all. But just hearing from her own pastor when she shared, I have gifts, I have this, I have that. And he said, well, who am I to judge God? Who am I to judge how God presents themselves? Um, so yeah, enjoy y'all. Enjoy this gift from our hearts. That's what it is. So yes, you won't hear anything right now, but I just want you all to enjoy us getting acquainted. Just enjoy us smiling, laughing together. Here we're talking about our gifts. We're talking about what it is like to be in tune with the earth, the trees. We're talking about um, my background in voice work and how Linklater voice work was this nonverbal therapeutic release of my inner pool, which again exposed a lot of hidden trauma that I had buried deep within myself, that I was able to release in such a nonverbal, such a soft way. And so here we are, just kind of getting calibrated. That's what we'll call it. So, again, y'all, today we're going to talk about Jesus leaving the 100 for the one. We're going to talk about the ancient Mesopotamian counting method. We're going to talk about the Christ within. We're going to talk about the significance of the water within. A lot of juicy topics today, a lot of mind opening, heart opening, realigning topics today. So, stay tuned. This is 30 minutes of beauty, 30 minutes of authenticity, of vulnerability, of truth. All right. Love y'all. And once again, thank you, Harmony. I keep wanting to call you Harmony. I don't know if that's your soul name or what, but thank you, Kayla, for stepping into my path and being brave enough to say, hey, let's do an episode together. And I can't wait for episode number 2, girl. All right, y'all. Enjoy.
For the 1,000. And in Mesopotamian times, they had a finite finger counting system. And that makes sense if you think about it in any sort of way. So the left hand could only you could only make so many combinations with a hand, right? So the left hand was for 0 to 99. And when you got to 99, apparently your hand was like all sorts of like, like what else do I do? Right? And so your hand would literally be ready to like, okay, like I'm ready to count. I need to I need to fill up this last space. I'm at 99, right? So it is lacking and yet ready to receive. That's feminine. It literally said that it represented the time of spiritualness before physical reality, femininity, and lack of fullness. Okay. That's Barbello for anybody that wants to look into that. Lack of fullness is barren water that had yet to be breathed over. Okay. Tell you the spirit was not yet holy till it went in the water, and the water wasn't holy till the spirit breathed over it. So I'm gonna just leave that one there. So that that whole thing. Now, I said that and then I like misdirected myself. So, okay, so the 99. So that left hand represents lack of fullness. So, but that ready to receive. So that's why Jesus leaves the 99. He's not part of the 99. He leaves. So that is the act of freely attraction. That's free attraction. That's what Christ is it's free attraction. You can come to me freely. That's what the principle is. So it freely pulls you back into fullness because what it said is in the finger counting, you could do 100 to thousands on your right hand, and your right hand represented masculinity, the material realm, and like physical stability, right? Which again, that is inherently masculine. I'll give y'all gentlemen that. That's what y'all are. We are chaos and you are control. It's supposed to be that way. We just took it too far. Everybody took it too far. Anyway. But so this control that is meant to help maintain chaos, which is magic, that's what that means. Um that's what control chaos is when you come together. That's why it's magic. That's why love. Ugh. Anyway, so the Mesopotamian counting system says that you would take one from the left and bring it to the right to create wholeness. So you'd be counting, and then you'd be like, okay, and then okay, and then you take that one, and you would keep count. So that's taking the left, putting it into the right, and creating fullness. That again is how electron exchange happens to create fullness and whole complete charge. Whole complete charge is what positivity actually is. It's not extra energy. That is too much positive charge. That's a battery. That's like lightning bolts coming out. That's like get away, right? That is projection. That's projection. That's a lot of look at how much energy I have. You're not plugged into anything, but you're freaking out. Okay, you have to be plugged in for that to have purpose, right? And so that's that thing. And when you plug in, you ground, literally, and that negates the all those extra ions. That's where you get into like free radicals and extra protons, like cell phones and all that stuff that's giving you extra proton energy. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want that. Anyway, so that's why it's leaving the 99 for the 100 because it represents wholeness. So that means that literally that completeness, that fullness is not whole or complete until all of the 99, right? All of the ones have been brought to the 99. So it adds another layer that like it's not just about you being a lost little sheep. It's about the fact that the kingdom of heaven is not full without you. That's the importance of like the embodiment of Christ and who like Jesus, Yeshua was, and the whole parable and picture of his life when presented properly, and what that is displaying and the true incarnation of what true love in a living spirit and reclamation of divinity, that whole thing, it's again bigger than and more human than, it's a different thing. And it's and that's the concept is even in Acts like 17:30 or something like that. Um, there's a scripture specifically where Paul is telling everybody, um, he goes into like Athens, I think, or somewhere. There's a bunch of Athenians, and it talks about how they're a bunch of philosophers and they love talking about God and spirituality, and like they're all about it. And so they hear him talking about like this new God of everything, and so they call him. He's like, "You guys are talking about some interesting stuff. Would you tell us more?" and and he basically says, and it's beautiful because this is one of those scriptures that I feel like we need to remember today because everybody gets sidetracked by religion. And in the Bible it literally says, he says, all of you guys have taken the one true God and you have turned it into all your different religions. And he says, but the living God is within you and is eternal, and it is the force that is living in the trees and the birds and the bees and that flows with the water and breathes life, all of these things. And he even commends them. He says, I even see that you have a temple built to the unknowable God, which is another side note that I won't even mention, but it's the unknowable or unnameable, got the force of life flowing. And so he even commends them. He's like, you know, the God that I'm talking about. That's who we're talking about. We're not talking about a dictator, and that's where everything got screwed up, is they're like, oh, we can really use this. You can't use it when you actually understand that it is life and it can't be taken, right? And then that's literally like, you don't deserve it, well, then you wouldn't be breathing because it is the essence of life within you. And it's whether or not you find that gift and glory within you and harmonize with your heart song, find that gift, and then you can resonate. Like Yeshua, like the term Christ, it's the God with you and within you. That's what it is translated as. And so it's a beautiful thing. What we had mentioned before is I had left the church for over a decade, and yet Christ came alive inside of me when I was outside of the church. And I realized that I was the church and I was welcome, that couldn't be taken from me. And it took me a long time, the last couple years, and then literally, thank God, I found a church. I even told them the first night, I don't know if I'm going to be welcome here because I experienced things that were not necessarily okay for other people. And this man, I want everyone to hear this because this is what this man told me. He said, isn't it amazing what the Lord can do? Who am I to take that away from you? I want everyone who watches this to hear that because that is God will do things in you that no human can take away. People's religions and traditions will put God in a box, and he's bigger than that. He's bigger than that. And the touch of spirit is, we talked a little bit about this, but we were going to mention it and it's coming up. So there's a concept of overriding the algorithm here, people, right? And love conquers all. You will know by their love. I believe, like even on social media, that's how I connect. That's how we connected. Is that sense of love and truth and connection that brings people together. And if you have found love and truth and connection within yourself, if you have been reminded by the power of the living God within you that you are the church, I want to remind you that you belong in a church and you have a power to override the algorithm of the lack of belief in the church. If you are radiating love, you know a good place to take that is, right? Because God doesn't live in church, he lives in you. If the church is empty, right, what's the point? So find a place that literally, if you're radiating Holy Spirit and love for life, you are welcome, period. If anyone ever made you feel like you weren't, I apologize on their behalf. They're wrong. It's not their house, it's his house, and he's you. So you're welcome to go home anytime within yourself and within any house that makes you feel like home. So, just side note, because real love, real connection will override the patriarchal, dominating, indoctrinating. The more of us that are really opening and waking up to that, the more we come together and don't label ourselves as anything other than followers of love and the way. And we're not members of the church anymore. We're people in the kingdom of God, right? If, if he's reigning, exactly. We're members of a kingdom, and that's a lot bigger. That's a lot bigger. Everyone is welcome. You just have to find that key inside, and you're here. And so that's a thing. It's not a religion. It's a love. It's a resonance. You can't heal people if they don't believe in Jesus. And I say Jesus healed people that didn't believe in him or know his name. He just asked, "Do you want to be healed? And do you believe you can be? Do you have faith that it's possible?" Right? Do you have faith in that? And that was what he was radiating, was faith in people's self. Like, If you're that powerful that you make somebody remember who they really are, I mean, come on. I love it. I love it. I'll give you the best freebie, your breath. Okay? As breath in your lungs is a whole thing. We all get our own blood, we all get our own lymph, we all get our own cerebral spinal fluid, we get all of that, but we have to share breath, and that is borrowed. Okay? That is for the birds and the bees and the trees and everyone because we all communicate this living life. Okay? This breath is very, very, very powerful. One of my favorite things is to breathe with my heartbeat. That's one of my favorite things. And if you can actually create the rhythm in your brain and kind of boom, 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 and actually focus on that, you'll completely clear your mind and also create that rhythm. Okay, so my favorite thing is to find your heartbeat and then just say it out loud. Boom, 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 boom. And then when you run out of breath, start inhaling with that rhythm in little bursts, like little sniffs, and then hold at the top and swallow. That massages your vagus nerve. And then boom, 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 or huh, 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 huh. So that's my favorite. It's really good for panic attacks, for anxiety, for anything. It's really good for even if you're getting nauseous to slow that and focus and hear it and make the rhythm and the sound and doon, doon, doon. And by doing that, you create proper heart brain coherence and it's rhythmically entraining your cells to calm down, to get out of fight or flight, to start reorganizing, to be safer. So just breathing with your heartbeat is one of my favorite, just like principle practices where you can do that anywhere. If you ever forget anything, you've got a heartbeat, so you've got rhythm and you have breath, and that's what you regulate with. So rhythm and regulate, baby.
Just letting y'all know that my favorite place to heal is with the trees. You can sit on your stoop and talk to the trees, talk to the birds, what have you.
I have a whole flock out here that loves me.
Yes, the trees and the birds. The trees love to take all the negative, icky stuff and turn it into good stuff. And the birds take our wishes to the heavens, you know?
I have a video. My tree in my backyard moved over 8 inches to come touch me on my shoulder. All last summer, she every morning I would go out and I would stand next to her, and she would move and give me kisses on my cheeks. It was really, yeah, she's really beautiful. Go find that on my Instagram because it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things. My tree, she's one of my best friends. Definitely go talk to your trees, people. I second that.
And here I am, just giving thanks to Kayla for sharing her lovely heart song, her space, her knowledge, her time with us
I know
because,
we didn't even get to the water. We focused on the heart. So we're going to talk about the water next time because I'm a water guy and that's kind of the whole thing.
yes,
A
just so
part
grateful
two,
for her kind heart and our kindred souls. I'm so
always.
glad to share this with
Sharing
you all.
sharing our heart
Can't
is
wait for
what we're
next
here to
part.
do. Love is another one. I'm going to leave everyone with that. Breath, light, love, time, energy. Those are all borrowed. They cannot be taken from you unless you take it to yourself. Okay, it's not your time, it's not your love, it's not your energy. Let it flow through you, not from you. That's the point. That's the actual point. Is it's bigger than that. It's that you matter because you matter. You matter. The word matter means exist. Like you matter. That's, that's what it's saying. You matter. And so it's just, I love that. And so that connection, that full current, that wholeness, that that's that. A lot of people don't realize that like apocalypse means hidden things revealed, and apocrypha means hidden things. So like the Apocrypha, the Gospel of Truth, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of Mary, all of the ones that were hidden and then found in Nag Hammadi, right? Like that's where I found the 99 to the 100. It's in the Gospel of Truth and the Nag Hammadi scriptures. I literally was like, I've never read that before. Mhm. The term glory literally means the way that light is reflected back, like the way that creation glorifies how God lives within us. And it's a beautiful thing. I do think that it gets misconstrued that like we take it on as a human thing, like, oh, well, then I'm God. No, you have the gift of God living within you. Like that gives you consciousness and awareness and the ability to connect to source and experience the life and spirit. And it's and that again, it's a gift through us, but it's not just for us, it's for the experiential advancement and evolution of source and consciousness itself coming through us and then receiving, then feeding back, and then feeding back. And so it's bigger than we try to humanize it into being.